Hey folks, double good news this week. The warm weather's coming back, but best of all, the Prime Minister told us that we could get out and do a bit more exercise, and specifically we could go back and swim in open water. So I sensed that there was a collective jumping up and down and shouting for joy from triathletes and open water swim enthusiasts all over the UK. But we do need to exercise a bit of caution, if you'll excuse the pun. Firstly, the water's still pretty chilly, so if you're a lean triathlete and you're not used to swimming in cold water and you haven't done any of that for several months, those first couple of sessions might be nothing more than acclimatization, if that. Please don't be assuming that you're going to go back in there and swim 2 or 3k, because that might not happen. And if you do try to do that, it might be interspersed with moments of coming up for to ease your head when you get that sort of ice cream headache, or to catch your breath because it's so cold. Before you go back in the open water, then here's a few bits of advice that I would bits of advice that I would like you to think about. Firstly, have you done any swimming in the last couple of months? I know I haven't, and I love swimming, but I just haven't had the opportunity. I know there's a few people who have been able to construct little paddling pools for themselves with a tether that's enabled them to splash around in the water. Whether that's been the same technique they use in the pool, I doubt that very much, so that's another subject. But for the rest of us, we've had no swimming for 2 months, so our feel for the water has got lost, for those who had any in the first place, but our feel for the water's gone absent. Secondly, we've probably been doing a lot more sitting because we've been working from home. For those of you who cycle and run, you might have upped your volume there to compensate for lack of swimming. So you're sitting down, you're holding onto the handlebars like this. These muscles get tight here, so your shoulders in a more anterior fashion than being back there. You're more hunched over, your hip flexors are tight. So there's some things that you need to loosen up, okay, before you even get back in the water. Otherwise you are going to be putting pressure on the shoulders and the neck, and perhaps you haven't done much upper back rotation either, which will also help. So before you go in the water, start preparing. Do some mobilizations. So shoulder mobilization, pectoral flexibility, upper back rotations, very simple exercises like the one I'm doing now. Just put your hands on your thighs and just rotate, or sit there and just rotate like that, but make sure you get them moving. Then mobilize those hip flexors. I put a video up on my SWAT and Cafe pages, Facebook pages last week, showing you how to do that one, but very easy to do, a couple of minutes a day. Then we might want to do a little bit of TheraBand work. These external and internal rotations, and also in this position with your arm out to the side, external rotation and internal rotation, very similar to a high elbow stroke, but definitely we want to be doing some work to improve the integrity of the rotator cuff muscles. You might want to do some stretches like this to loosen up the upper back and just get yourself into a more streamlined position, because that's definitely going to help. Okay, then when we go back in the water, you've not swum for 2 months. Nobody is going to be swimming as fast as they did back in March. So please have a word with yourself before you do go back in the pool and manage your expectations. Then, when you get back in the water, what you don't want to do is go piling back in and try to swim the same volume that you were doing back in March, because if that ends up in anterior shoulder pain, it may result in you not being able to swim for a few more weeks, so that will be added frustration. The best way is to ease yourself back in gently. Maybe do 20-minute sessions, which, if you've driven half an hour to get to your open water venue and you've paid £4 or £5 for the privilege of swimming, you might be thinking that you want to get the most swimming in for the effort you've put to drive there and the money you've paid, but that could be counterproductive, so just be careful. Next, you want to build that volume up, so over a period of weeks you get back to your previous swim volume. For now, I would just be doing drills and improving the feel for the water. So I would start off with a lot of kicking, yes, kicking. I would be doing a lot of sculling work, just like this, out and in a prone position, so face down, kicking and just sculling like this, then I would start to do some doggy paddle work, and then I would take that into a catch-up style activity, and then into full swimming, and be doing that all the time so you improve your technique. By all means, add a little bit of short, hard stuff, no more than 20 or 30 strokes. You don't need to start doing threshold work right away. In fact, I would very much counsel against that. So give yourself a month to get used to swimming, and by that time hopefully you've built the volume up. As I said earlier, nobody's going to be as fast as they were in March, so have a bit of compassion for yourself. If you come away from that first session thinking, oh, I was really slow, hey, that's what's going to happen for all of us. So just accept it. And it's going to be like that for a few months before you get your fitness back. So accept that too. By all means, at the end of that first month, when you've got a bit of feel for the water and you've got a bit of swim conditioning, then maybe do a 400 metre time trial, set a benchmark and use that going forwards. But for now, I definitely try to avoid full-on conditioning sessions, a lot of hard work and a lot of long sets where your shoulders are going to get tired and where you might be putting additional pressure on the front of the shoulder here and leading to another injury. Alright, I think that's it. So prepare before you go back in the open water. Be careful of cold water. Do some strength and mobility work for the shoulders, the upper back and the hips. Manage your expectations when you get back in the water, and don't expect too much of yourself, and don't be too hard on yourself when you realise that you are slower than you were before. And take your time. Nothing's going to happen race-wise for the next few months, so it doesn't matter what your swimming fitness is like for that time. You have plenty of time available to get back to your previous conditions, so just take that time and enjoy the swimming. Stay safe, stay healthy, and you know what Boris said, stay alert. Alright, see you again soon. I'll probably have something more to chatter about next week that's topical, but for now, thanks for listening.